We're going. All righty, we are live. Hi everyone, I'm so excited. It's always a great day when you get to talk with amazing friends and just women doing so much with such great grace and ease. And you're gonna find out why in just a little bit. So I am Dr. Funke Afolabi Brown. I'm the founder of Restful Sleep MD, and I have right with me today, Dr. Lola, and I am just so excited because we're going to be talking about some productivity hacks because God knows we all need a few tips on how to be more effective, how to be more efficient. And so we're going to be learning about all the things from the very productivity mama herself. So good to have you, Dr. Lola. Can you just introduce yourself?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I stand you. You guys know, people that know me know my number one productivity hack is sleep. Okay. So when I found out about her, the first I was like, and the fact that you made your own thing about sleep is just warms my heart. So first, I just want to tell you thank you for that.
Aww.
So for those of you guys that don't know, my name is Dr. Lola. I am a physician, but I'm also a productivity and life strategist, and a life coach. I actually got life coaching training. And I always say I help all women, but specifically women with busy brains or busy lives. Because the one thing they both have in common is that they have something that is preventing them to reach their full potential. And I really, truly believe that God brought us to this world to serve a purpose. And a lot of times when we're not reaching our potential or we're not serving our purpose, we have an angst about us. And it leads to so many other things. So I always say my ministry is to allow people to serve their purpose through productivity. So that's really all I'm about. A lot of people know me in the ADHD space. So hashtag the busy brain mamas or the busy brain women. I do have ADHD myself, so I have a good passion for that. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to strategies and systems to help you be the best person that you can be. Not comparing yourself to anybody, just you, meaning your inner potential, and that's really all it's about.
I love that. I love that. I love what you said. It's the busy brains, right? I heard someone say something like neurospicy. I just thought that was so. I'm like, I love that term, neurospicy. Is that
Exactly.
is that a term you use in the like ADHD community or something? Because it just sounded so. I'm like, yeah, I love that sound. I love how that
The
sounds.
funny thing about ADHD is that the more we learn about it and the more we start to realize that the term
Mm,
was placed upon people that really didn't have
mm,
ADHD. I feel like the term does
mm,
not really adequately describe what
mm,
attention deficit disorder is, hashtag,
yeah.
right?
Mm,
Because even if you look at the name attention deficit hyperactive disorder, a lot of us are not hyperactive. A lot of us were missed because we're never hyperactive, right? That's number
mm,
one. Although we're not outwardly hyperactive, in our brains are always busy. Hashtag busy brain, right? So,
mm,
and another thing is that it's not really a deficit of attention. If anything,
yeah.
is a dysregulation of attention.
Mm,
Sometimes we're overly stimulated, sometimes we're underly stimulated, depending
mm,
on what is going on. So I
mm,
find that in the ADHD world, people have just started to name it what they think matters to them, right?
mm,
And that's why I tell people, they're like, oh, do you only coach women with ADHD? I'm like, not necessarily, because even ADHD is a spectrum. Some people are
yeah.
so severe, some people are very mild. Like
Mm,
myself, I was diagnosed serendipity. It wasn't like maybe something drastically happened. I was
mm,
challenged to go get tested because
mm.
somebody like, you have ADHD. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm the top of my class. I'm a smart girl. Like I had this, I look back at it now and I'm like, oh my gosh, you were so ignorant. But like a lot of people don't understand what ADHD is. And because they don't understand what ADHD is, I always say it's a yin-yang diagnosis.
Mm,
A lot of people end up seeing the liabilities of it and they don't really focus on the actual positive of it, right? I've always been a positive person. I've always been a solution-oriented person. So I think the reason why ADHD didn't affect me as much, it did, like in test
Mm,
taking and stuff, but the reason why it didn't affect me as much as it could is growing up, I've always been solution-oriented.
mm,
I've always been strategy. I've always been about systems. There's always stuff I have done to help in my
mm,
ADHD. So when people
mm,
come to me, they're like, how about you a pediatric cardiologist and you have
mm,
ADHD? How about you at this and you have ADHD? I had to look back at my life. And I was like,
mm,
well, it helped that one, I had a mom and I know we're from the same area
mm,
of Africa, Nigeria, whatever.
mm,
But like in our culture, positivity rules, right?
mm.
Like till today, my mom never says I'm sick. She would say like, oh, I'm very well, you know, like
I'm strong. I'm strong.
I'm strong. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
See, she does better than me. Or she would never say, I don't have money. Let's say she didn't have money. She would never say that. She would be like, oh, what follow me, which means like I have a lot of money in my hands, you know, but we get what she's trying to say. And
Yeah.
growing up, we used to make fun of her. We're like, just say it. But I think the reason why is that they always uphold us and like always
Mm,
build us up. So I've always
yeah.
been in that environment. So I've never
Mm,
seen myself as less than or not capable. If
mm,
anything, I always felt like I was more capable than I was. My output was not matching what I was capable. So that's
mm,
why my passion has always been, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not doing well, but are you
yeah.
meeting your full potential, right?
That's the
And you
question.
know what your full potential is.
Mm,
So I feel
mm,
like I went around about the circle of
mm.
introducing myself with hashtag PhD.
I love it. Listen, no, so many things I'm catching from that already. You know, one of the things you talked about is, first of all, ADHD is a spectrum. Can I let you in on a secret? Or you probably know this. I think pretty much every woman has a touch of ADHD. As far as I'm concerned, if you have a child and you have a job, and oh, by the way, you also have a side gig and you have all this, like you're multi-passionate, you know. So at the end of the day, I love what you're putting it to be, because sometimes people get stigmatized with this diagnosis. Meanwhile, you have been able to develop systems where you're thriving with ADHD, where it's become like a superpower pretty much. And because of that, you're using that to help other women so that they don't feel like they're scattered or disorganized and they don't feel disempowered. They can actually then start to look and say, okay, what parts of this can I use to my advantage? What are the things that I need to work on? And so just the way what you have created with this, I think is incredible. And the fact that you are living it and it's not holding you back. I just really have to applaud you for that. And I think this is an incredible segue to the productivity. Like you said, you're a peds cardiologist. Oh, by the way, I have 3 kids and I have this business. And I saw you have this thing where you take women to different places in Africa. I'm like, who is she? How is she doing it? We
I,
all
I
have the
have like
same,
3 branches
we
of
all,
business.
I'm telling you, we all have 24 hours. No, we don't have 24 hours. We have
No,
16
remember
because
I
we're
said we have
sleeping.
18 because we gotta sleep.
Yeah, we are. That's what I'm saying. So how is he doing it? So I've been really looking forward to this conversation. But first, why do women feel so overwhelmed? Why do we take on so much and then feel like we have, like I said, you have 16 or 18 hours, no matter, depending on how much sleep you're getting. And it just seems like it's not enough. Why is that?
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to like when women come to my program and they
Mm,
always balk at me for this. The first thing I have them do is take account of what they're
mm,
using the time for.
mm,
And in most places they say, "Oh, what are you doing in 24 hours?" I tell them
mm,
18 hours. I
yeah,
want you to tell me what you're doing in 18 hours.
mm,
And when you put that down, there you have an awareness. The
yeah,
problem is people don't even understand how much an hour is.
yeah,
People don't even understand how much can go in an hour. And that's
yeah,
one thing I've noticed, especially with people in ADHD.
mm.
Remember you said, oh, everybody has a touch of ADHD. I always balk when people say that because the reason why I buck is there are like some real things that people with ADHD have that other people don't have. One of the
Mm,
big ones that plague women with ADHD is our sense of time.
mm,
women with ADHD don't really have a good sense of time whatsoever. It's almost like they see just like, when a place is foggy and you can only see to a certain distance, they
Mm,
really can't see past that. And that's why it's really hard for them to plan ahead. And it's like,
yeah.
why didn't you knew you were going to do this? Why didn't you plan ahead? So it's like things
Mm,
that seem so simple, right? But
mm,
they don't have the ability to do that. So, but I
yeah.
use the same strategies for my non-ADHD women, because if it
Mm,
helps the ADHD women times two, it usually helps my non-ADHD women times 10. So the
mm,
first step is actually knowing, what do you do with the 18 hours of the day you have? Because
mm.
everybody should sleep at least 8. Did I do my math right? What's 8
Probably
minus
16.
0.4? 16, excuse me. See,
Yeah.
I knew something wasn't right. I was like, no, it's not 18. 16 hours
Yeah.
of the day. So what are you
Mm,
doing with your 16 hours of the day? That's the first thing. Because we usually don't have a good sense of time, we
mm,
either overpack our day
yeah.
and we overestimate how much things can actually happen in the day. Okay. And because we see other women, quote unquote, doing it, not realizing all the helps or or guidance or whatever it is that's helping them,
Mm,
we assume we can do that, right? And even if those people don't have the same guidance as you do, you're a different person, right?
mm,
So if someone sees me, they're like, well, Dr. Lola is a coach. She's a physician, still works full time, by the way. She's a
mm,
physician. She has a podcast. She has this, and she has a travel company. She has a this, she has a that, she has that. If you see me and you want to do what I do, not saying people can't do what I do, but you will fail because you don't know all the strategies I've put in
yeah.
place to make this thing work, right? So the
Mhm,
first thing is like, one, we over plan things and we underestimate how much those things happen. And what
mm,
happens is when we plan and we don't follow through, then it's almost like we let ourselves down. And that's
mm,
where the overwhelm comes into
yeah.
place, right?
Mhm,
And you will find a lot of times when people come to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I just need you. I'm so overwhelmed. Da, 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 da. The first thing I tell them to do is write down everything you have to do. 90% of the time, they have page 1, page 2, page 3, and it's like, no wonder you're overwhelmed, right? Like it's
mm,
unrealistic. We put these unrealistic expectations on ourselves, right? So, number one. Number two, the next thing I have them do after they write down everything they have to do is to actually now prioritize. I say
yeah.
the difference between a busy person and a productive person is their focus is on the wrong thing. A
Mm,
busy person is trying to do a whole bunch of stuff in a amount of time. A productive person is trying to do the right thing in the
mm,
same amount of time, right? So now
yeah.
prioritizing, what do I really need to get done? I always limit my ladies to no more than 3 important things a day you need to get
Mm,
done, right? So
yeah.
prioritize those things and actually look through the list. Even before prioritize, I forgot to mention, is first deleting all the things you do not need to be doing. They're so, and like I like my clients sometimes they're like, I need to do everything. I'm like, no, you don't, right?
Mhm,
Like part of it is like we don't delegate enough.
yeah.
Like as high productive women, we always have this, I don't know, excuse me for saying this, but this idea that no one can do it better than us. Or
Yeah.
well, I asked them to do it, aka the hubby or the children, and they just don't do it well, right? So I just do
Yeah.
it because I can't talk. I can't talk, like, like I'm just
Mm.
over it. I'm just gonna do it. And here's the problem with that. I'm gonna pick on our husbands for a second. Here's a problem of not having your husbands like get involved because they're not doing it the way you wanted to do it. The thing about men is they don't want to hear your mouth either. So when they're doing it and they're trying their best and you're not encouraging them, they're like, forget it, I'll just do it. They're like, okay, thank God, oh, well, like I'm done. I'm not doing it, right? So I'm like throwing in some Yorubas in there. It's like, that's fine. I'm not gonna do it. Not in a bad way, but because they actually don't want you to stress too. So they
Mm,
feel they're helping you, is stressing you, so they're just gonna let it go. I'm going to give an example of my family during the pandemic. Like my kids started going to school, but I was home, but the nannies were still not coming. We didn't really have any help. It was horrible. Thankfully, my husband is
Yeah.
IT. He's always worked from home. So the pandemic was not a big deal for him. And it came to a point of who's going to make lunch for the kids. I was like, listen, let them buy food. I'm not going to stress myself, you know. He
Mm.
was like, no, I can do it. I could pack their lunches. I'm not going to lie. Deep down, I was like, oh, Lord,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
But I was like, you know what? That's fine. So I let him do it. I'm not going to lie. Till today, the lunches are not where it needs to be. But this is 3 years later, and he
Mm.
still does it. Because at the end of the day, I had to let go of some control.
Yeah.
What they're not eating the perfect balanced diet for lunch. They have breakfast, they have dinner,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
believe it or not, the other day when I tried to pack lunch for them, there were some things my kids were like, oh, I don't eat that anymore. I was like, oh, you don't? No, I don't eat that anymore, you know? So
Mm.
it was validated. Now he does a better job according to the kids packing lunches, right?
Mhm.
But I gave him that ability to fail and to improve and to do things the way I wanted to do it, and
Yeah.
to also leave some control. Leave
Mhm.
some control and let them
Mhm.
fail, or maybe, again, come to a middle ground. Maybe they won't
Yeah.
do it perfectly, but it gets done. So
Yeah.
right now, lunch is not part of my problem. That has been
Mhm.
100% delegated to my husband, and now my husband is delegating to my oldest daughter.
Love it.
So
Love it.
those are some of the things that I always encourage people to do. Delegating. So first, putting everything down. Second, delegating. Then a third thing you need to do, again, going back, is prioritizing. Like, what do I really, really need to do? And then when you say, what do I really need to do? It's like, why do I need to do it? A
Mhm.
lot of times we just do things because we've been doing it.
Yeah.
Like, does this align with my overall purpose? Again, a lot of times when I talk about productivity, I always tie it back to purpose, right?
Mm.
Because that's the difference between just being busy and being productive. Does it
Yeah.
align with my productivity? And those are some of the things you can do to help with overwhelm, because we all have it. And once I start getting overwhelmed, I'm like, okay, let me write everything down. What do I need to cut down? What do I need to delegate? What do I need to systemize? What do I need to automate?
Mm. Mhm. I love that. I really love that. I love the fact that you started with just even taking an audit, right? It's a time audit. Like, what is going on? It may seem like time keeps flying, and then at the end of the day, you feel like you don't have much to show for it. And that might be because you've been busy, but not necessarily productive.
Yep.
And really making that shift of putting it down on paper. So you're not just like a, squirrel just running and trying to put out fires, or, because if everything rises to the level of priority without us really writing it down or noting it, then there's no priority.
And
So,
that's
yeah,
why we go busy versus productive. Like when you're
yeah,
busy, everything is a priority.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
unfortunately, when you make everything a priority, the things that are
Mhm.
truly priority then don't
Yeah,
take the priority they need to take.
yeah, yeah. So now we've been able to get a sense of, okay, this is all I need. These are all the things on my plate. These are the things I could dish away, let go of control. It doesn't have to be perfect. I can make it somebody else's problem, not mine. And then we've gone on to now prioritize what's left with our why behind it, so that we can actually justify why they're rising to that level of priority. And
Exactly.
then we want to start to take action, right? So now in getting even those things done, because it turns out, I don't know if you've noticed, there's a pattern now where there just seems to be more to do. But so now you already have your priority list, you've done all that, but it still seems like a lot. What are some of your top tips that women can use to actually move from, yes, these are all the important things I want to do, and actually efficiently get it done? In the sense of, I know one of the things you talk about is automating, in addition to delegating, and also like putting things into systems. So how do we go about really applying that in real life scenarios with us women, making sure that sleep does not suffer, right? Because otherwise what happens is it extends and starts to eat into our sleep time, and
Right,
then we wake up in the
exactly.
morning
And
exhausted.
that's actually the number one thing I was gonna
Yeah.
say. I was gonna say, I know you preach this, but I want to say it again in case you've not heard it. The number one thing I actually do after I have
Mm.
my clients, my patients, my clients, like, do a time audit, the next thing I have them do is set a bedtime for themselves.
Mm.
Your day actually starts the day before. It doesn't start today. It started
Mm.
the night before. And
Mm.
how you prepare your day the night before is how your day will be.
Mm.
Okay. There is a reason why our kids have bedtime, right?
I know.
Like your kids, like I remember like 2 days ago, my daughter, she's a nerd, just like her mom. She had this big test and she was like, but mommy, I was like, no, I already told you 9 p.m. A bedtime is 8 o'clock. But on days where she has a lot to do, I let her stay an extra
Mm.
hour, right? So I was like, I
Mm.
already told you 9 p.m. I don't care if you're done or not. You are going to bed. You're going to bed. I will write a letter to your teacher if I need to, you
I
know?
love it. Mm-hmm.
Number one, what that helps her do is be more efficient with her time
Yep.
because she knows either way I am going to bed. My
Mm.
mother does not play. The light goes off, the internet shuts off. I am going to bed. So
Mm-hmm.
guess what? That 1 hour, her brother comes to her. I have to do this. Don't talk to me. Like she's so focused. Which
I
is
love
great.
it.
I'm teaching her
Mm-hmm.
good habits, right?
Yeah.
So that's number one. So you really, really like people underestimate the impact sleep does. Okay. So when you do that, you have your bedtime, you have your I call it strict bedtime. The
Mm.
night before, I also recommend for women to write down all they have to do the next day, the night
Mm-hmm.
before.
Yeah.
That helps you kind of like brain dump everything you didn't do or you need to do. It also helps you sleep better, especially with people with ADHD. Your brain is on constant. Even when you don't have ADHD, right? As a mom, you
Yeah.
have a lot going on and your brain
Yeah.
is constantly going and going and going.
Mm-hmm.
So when you write all those things, that it's almost like you are emptying, you're closing all the tabs on your laptop
Mm.
before you shut down for the night, right? So I always recommend close all those tabs and let your CPU rest. Let your
Mm.
brain rest. When you
Mm.
wake up in the morning, if you start already well rested, your productivity is already 50% more than it was a day before if you didn't.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
that's number one. And I know I'm preaching to the choir yet here. So I
No,
don't
no, no, no,
know.
absolutely. This is so valid. And hearing your perspective, for me, that's a connection I always help my clients have as well. That connection between sleep and productivity. But you are a productivity guru. And
Oh,
so for
that's
you
my
to
number
say,
one. I don't play with
yeah,
it.
mm,
I have so many sleep whatever.
mm,
I have actually referred some of my clients to go see a sleep specialist because I'm like,
mm,
if your sleep is not good, we cannot move forward.
yeah,
You got to fix yourself first. There's food, there's all this other stuff, but that's number one. Then number
mhm,
two is actually like planning it out.
yeah,
Actually creating those, like it depends on what you want to do, obviously. So let's say, for example, you have, I don't know, I can't even think off the top of my head now what you have to do. Let's say you have like a big project. You need to write you have a presentation to write, okay?
mm,
And this presentation must be done today. The first thing I also tell them to do is plan it out. Plan your planning.
mm,
So plan your planning mean, okay, yes, I have to do this presentation. It's not just I have to do this presentation. It's more like, okay, when are you going to do the presentation? When is the first draft going to be due? When is the second draft going to be due? What, not just when, where are you going to do it at, right?
yeah,
What is going to help you prepare? Actually, going through, we have these questions I ask, like when, what, how,
mhm,
who is another one, who is going to help you? Because again, talking about women, we like to do everything.
yep,
So in your mind, if you thought about the who, it helps you with some of the delegation, right? So for example, let's say you have this wonderful presentation on sleep, or let's say I have this wonderful presentation on sleep I need to do. The first thing is, okay, I have to do it in 2 weeks. So I want my first draft to be done a week before.
mm,
Who's gonna make sure it's good? I'm gonna talk to, Dr. phone call to like help me look through it and da 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 da. I'm gonna interview this person. But if you don't think about the different levels, then I'm gonna be on Google all day researching when I could just call an expert and talk to them about it, right? So a
So
lot of
true.
those questions also help you with the delegation and the systems.
Mm,
When you're building systems, it just depends on what it is or why
mm,
that you're
mhm.
building the system. For my clients that are physicians, it's very easy to explain. I'm like, the
Yeah.
reason why we have systems in medicine is not because we're dumb, right? Like there's
Yeah.
some organizations, let's say you want to, treat a patient that has like sepsis. They have like things you need to look for in this numbers. The reason why they do that is because research has already gone through it. We know
Yeah.
this works. So we're going to use the best thing that works.
Yeah.
Same thing. We need to look at our life as our business. I always say the
Mm,
first business of your life, either you have a business or not, is you. I
mm,
call it my me LLC, right? So what systems are you going to put in place for your life to make sure things work? We were talking earlier on about kids and sports. One of the systems I've also put in place is we're only going to have one sport per not just per child, but per gender. Because I know I'm not going to be shuttling from basketball to
mhm,
soccer. So I need you boys to talk together and decide which sport you're going to do together this season. It's totally okay for us to do soccer this season and basketball next
mm,
season, but what we're not about to do is soccer and basketball and tennis. Because the truth of the matter is, could it be done? Sure, maybe, but guess what? I'm not going to sleep.
mm,
And I prioritize my sleep and I prioritize myself. I think sometimes as moms, we put ourselves in the back burner, thinking we're
yeah.
doing our kids justice. Whereas what we're doing is giving them yellow. I use an iPhone battery. You know how your iPhone battery has the red, the yellow at
Yeah.
20% and the 80%?
Mhm,
Most of
mhm,
us are constantly at 20%.
mm,
And when you're at 20%, you're actually not giving your kids your best self,
mm-mm.
you know? So those are for example, people will even think about that as a system. Like, what do you mean that's a system? Yes, it's a system
Yeah.
because, they have arts and they have sports. So we decide, okay, every year now they know. Another one is field trip. I have 3 kids in that are school age. So each of them have at least 2 to 3 field trips. So we're talking 9 field trips. I take up 9 days, off of work to
Yeah.
go to every single field trip. Thankfully, there's dad and mom. So guess what? I tell them, pick the one you definitely want me to go to this year.
Mm,
So we take it way ahead of year, in addition to some other things we do before the school year starts. I have
yeah.
a school year system. So we pick one, the child A pick one, child B pick one, child C pick one. And I make sure I take those 3 days off during the year.
Mhm,
They're happy I come to those 3 days. My husband, he goes to the ones he can. And there's some that neither of us cannot go. And we
that's
just
okay.
make sure there's another parent there looking out for them, and
Mm,
that's okay. So
yeah.
those are the kind of things we do. Like, let me tell you, I don't think my mom went to any of my field trips growing up. And I never was like, oh my gosh, she didn't come to my whatever field trip. But the things
You'll
that
be okay.
mattered, that
Hmm.
I cared about, she
She
was
was
there.
there. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And that's, I think at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? So that it's not so much, right? People, it sounds a little cliche, but it's not so much about the quantity of the time, but the quality. So if you're dishing out just 20% where you're annoyingly being there, so you're not necessarily present. And so nobody's really benefiting from it, you know? And so what I'm hearing is, again, it's setting, pre-planning. It all comes to making sure you have a system in place where you're planning. And I love which is definitely something I recommend also, having a plan for the next day so that you're not running around feeling out of control. It just gives you so much more control. And it takes that busyness, mind racing, trying to hold on to so many things in your mind. It takes it down on paper. And so you can take care of it the next day. And then also building systems that will ensure sustainability, because it's not just, you have this one you spirit, soul, and body, if you don't have a system in place to sustain your spirit, to sustain your mind, and to sustain your body through rest and, self-care and prioritization and, boundaries and doing all that, then you're not going to last that long, or people are just going to not, the kids will not get the best of you, neither will those around you.
No,
And so I just
and
feel
you
so
wonder
proud.
why you're
Mhm.
yelling at them and why you're stressed and why you're,
Yeah.
and I tell people all the time, to be honest, I probably see my kids maybe 2 hours max during the
Mm,
school year, right?
mm,
Because by the time I come back from work, it's 5:36. By the time they
yeah.
do their work, bedtime is 7:38, right?
Mhm.
But between that 6 and 7:30, most of the time, I'm not on my phone. I'm
Yeah.
not, like they have all of me. We're playing, we're talking, we're having fun. It doesn't matter if I get off work at 2 p.m. and I'm on my phone and I'm doing 10,000 different things. And when I say on my phone, I don't mean to say that in a weird way, but like let's say
Mm,
I have meetings or I'm doing like
yeah.
10,000 things, important, truly important things between
Yeah.
2 and 8. And yes, I'm there 8 hours or 6 hours or 7 hours. It's not quality time, So
Yeah.
I really, really, I love the fact that you actually specified that like the quality of what you do matters. And that's really where the productivity versus busy also come in.
Comes
Like,
in.
what's the quality? What's the intent? I talk about intentionality of your time. Are you
Mm,
being intentional and being present, you
yeah.
know, in the
Mm,
things that you're doing? I just discuss IPMAT. It's like intentionality, presence, and being positioned. Are you positioning yourself as the mom at that particular time?
yeah.
Are you literally saying, okay, it's 6 to 7. I want to be mommy right now. Like sometimes I have to tell myself, like, okay, business Lola is out the door. This is mommy Lola in here. So in the
Mm,
beginning, when I started doing that, it's just like I'm used to it now. But in the beginning, when I started doing it, I used to call it the mommy hour. So
mm,
like in the morning, I had my CEO hour where I sat there and did all the business stuff. And then like that 1 hour or so, or 1.5 hours, was always the mommy hour. And a lot of time, it doesn't necessarily mean I sit down. It's like, so what did you do today? No, it wasn't like that. Half the time it's like we're making dinner, we're talking, we're laughing, we're playing, just
yeah.
literally enjoying time together. And
Mm,
I think like, why do we do all this?
it's for them. I know.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. This has been so, so good. And just the way you approach this, you make it's doable. It's not, it's building systems. It's not something that we need to feel overwhelmed about. Actually, it's what's going to help with that sense of overwhelm and guilt and things like that. So this has been incredible. And now if people do want to work with you and say, you know what? Where has she been all my life? Where can they find you? How do we get to you, to the awesomeness that is Dr. Lola?
Oh my
Because
gosh.
now we know that we can't get in from like 6 to 7:30. So how else? What are the other?
Right, 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 right.
Yeah.
So okay, another thing I did talk about was boundaries. So part of me setting boundaries is I actually limit the amount of one-on-ones I take because there's
Mm,
only so much time and just being honest with the
absolutely.
amount of time I have. So I only take about 2 or 3 one-on-ones at a time. Unfortunately, now my one-on-one is full till March.
Mm,
Mid-March, I think I have one that would open. But you could always reach out if I have it available. I can help you with your life productivity. I do life coaching, I do ADHD coaching, I do productivity coaching, anything to help you reach your goal. I'm also a goal success. Like I call myself a life success coach, helping you
mm,
succeed in life and whatever it is you want to do. So I can do that. You can email me hello at lollietasking.com and I'll send you the actual address later on. You can email it
mm,
there. You can go to www.lollietasking.com. I do have podcasts you can listen to. I
mm,
have one podcast just called Lollietasking. It's really for moms, professional moms, just how do I survive being, amazing at what I do, but at work and at home. I don't think you have to choose. I didn't choose. So hey,
mhm,
so that's and then there's Lollietasking with ADHD, where I actually go more into like ADHD productivity specific things. So those are my two podcasts that I have. And I actually just kind of released something to the public today, if you don't mind me sharing.
no, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just released my group program I have. It's called Accomplish with Ease, but it's actually a retreat. We start out with a retreat, and part of this program is basically helping you build all the systems that we're talking about. But it's a retreat where I just want you to pause, because part of the problem is we're not pausing.
Mm-mm,
We're not pausing. And we're
mm.
going to be in a luxury mansion somewhere in Orlando, Florida. You have a chance to go to Disney World if you want, for the whole weekend. And in that weekend, we create systems for your mind, your body, and your soul that
Oh,
weekend. And we do that together just for 2-3 hours in the morning. And the rest of the day, you have it to rest. We have a spa. We have everything. It's a huge mansion. It's beautiful. Private just for us. That's it. And then obviously evenings we have dinner and all that good stuff, all inclusive. I make sure we pick you up from the airport. Like I literally want moms of busy women to literally show up and rest for the weekend. But then after the weekend, for the rest of the 6 months, I have a mastermind that I do with the women. And in that mastermind, I make sure they get their family. We create systems for your family, your work, your business, and all of that. I also have accountability coaches that help them if they have a specific life, a business, a work goal. So for 3 months, they help them with that. And I also have a declutter coach that works with them, that helps them kind of declutter their life. And then the last one is the declutter digital life. VA basically declutters their whole digital life. So it's an amazing program that I already have 2 people signed up. I'm not taking more than 15 max. But
mm.
I'm looking for 10 more and then we'll be done. So if you're interested, unfortunately, I can't take everybody. So I'm having people reach out to me and I'll decide if it's the right fit for them, because I'm not one of those people that feel like everybody needs your program. I want the right people who would enjoy being in it. So that's it.
Oh, love it, love it. And would that be on your website as well? Would the information be on the on your
So this
website?
one is not on my website yet. Like
Mhm.
I said, I'm trying to, this sounds bad, right? I'm
No,
trying to
but
see if
would
the
they
people.
can we get can they get in touch with you through hello at Lollietasking as well
Yes, they
about that?
can. And I would actually
Perfect.
send you the link to this one.
Okay,
But to
great.
get on it, they can apply.
Awesome.
Or they can reach out to me as well, either way.
Perfect.
But I'll send the link that way they can, there's a link that should go through everything and they can see all what is included.
Great, great. And what I'll do is I'll include it in the comments so people can just
Okay.
grab it and then look. Thank you so much. This is
Of
incredible. Thank you for
course.
spending time
I
with
can't
us
believe it's been
today.
only 30 minutes
I
already.
know. That's so when it comes to listen, it was very well worth it. And you guys heard it's doable, it's possible. You can thrive and be productive and accomplish the things that you can do. You just need to build systems in, make sure that sleep is included in that system, and ways to ensure sustainability. So thank you so much. Definitely, if sleep is an issue, then you know how to and where to find me. It's at restfulsleepmd.com. And really what I do is about making sure that sleep is a priority so that you can increase your performance and productivity. You heard Dr. Lola, she's all about it. And
I
so,
approve this message.
all righty. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.